Congressman Schiff, we just heard Chuck Schumer say, we all know the depth of the agony that Israel feels. And in that usage of we, he meant Jews. He meant people like himself who have that story in their families of their family members being gunned down and killed the way Jews were killed on October 7th.
Well, I think he's absolutely right, Lawrence. It's hard to find anyone in the Jewish community anywhere in the world who isn't devastated, shocked, horrified, who isn't, I think, on the verge of tears with every story that comes out, every video that we see, every witness account, every family's heartbreak over whether loved ones are still alive or have been lost. It is opening a wound that has never closed, and we feel it so keenly. At the same time, we feel resolved that we'll do everything we can to help Israel defend itself, help provide the material it needs to defend itself, do everything in our power to protect Israel from the opening of a second front in the north with Iranian-backed Hezbollah. Israel is enormously vulnerable right now. It would be another terrible blow to Israel if it had to fight a war on two fronts. And I'm also want to speak, I think, for the Jewish community, expressing enormous pride with President Biden and how he has handled this and his tremendous empathy for what Israel is going through, for his own resolve to wrap his arms around Israel and do what we can to protect Israel, but also his humanity and the efforts he's making to meet the humanitarian needs of people in Gaza and do so in a way that doesn't diminish Israel's capability of defending itself. So a lot of emotions, I think, for all of us in the Jewish community right now.
I want to get a sense of how shocked you were as a former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, where on a daily basis you were aware of the kinds of threats in that region that we had intelligence about. And I'm just wondering, given that history, just the level of shock you felt when this happened, or whether there was anything in what you'd picked up in the course of your time looking at intelligence that made you somehow less surprised about this than the rest of us.
You know, Lawrence, honestly, I think it was quite the opposite. That is, you know, given the close exposure I had to Israeli intelligence and our close working relationship, it made the shock all the more severe that something of this magnitude could happen, that we would not have foreknowledge of it, that apparently Israel had no foreknowledge or very little foreknowledge of the magnitude of what was happening. It was really just incomprehensible, the scope of it. I mean, the sheer barbarity of it. Of course, you know, we knew that Hamas were terrorists, and this is what they do. They kill, they maim, they kidnap, they rape. They have no respect for human life. They use their own people as human shields. That we knew, but that they would have the capacity to do something on this order of magnitude without Israel being better prepared was a shock. And, you know, look, I never blame the victim here. Israel's the victim of this heinous Hamas attack. And we're going to have to work more and more closely with Israel in the days and weeks to come, both to get our hostages back and make every effort to keep them alive, but also so that we help Israel in the very dangerous undertaking it's about to go through. And I have to say, you know, my heart goes out, too, to all the parents of those reservists that have been called up for the IDF, those 300,000, all their parents, all their family members who are going to be desperately worried, and all the trauma they're going to experience in trying to take out this Hamas threat while doing everything they can to minimize civilian casualties.
How important is it that President Biden has apparently a pre-wired agreement now with Netanyahu about humanitarian assistance and for the people in Gaza?
Well, I think it's wonderful, first of all, Lawrence, that the president is going to Israel right now. And I think there is no overstating the importance of that, not just symbolically, but the degree to which it really I think, cements the relationship between our two countries in Israel's most profound hour of need since 1973, since 1948. This is going to be a monumental showing of support. And so I'm, again, so proud that the president is doing this. But as with all visits, and particularly during a wartime visit, you need to make sure things are locked down. You don't want in any way to either A, interrupt the Israeli effort to defend itself. You don't want the timetable to be adjusted by a visit. There are greater urgencies. But also, you don't want any kind of discord between these two leaders. So it's important to nail all this down in advance, and I think they have.